Hi, this is Jen from Cookies, Cupcakes, and Cardio.com. We are going to begin a series of videos that's going to teach you how to bake and decorate a basic cake. Our first video today is going to be how to make a homemade cake from scratch. Then we will show you how to make a filling that will go inside the cake. We'll teach you how to torte the cake, and we will also teach you how to cover the cake in a simple buttercream, which we will also teach you how to put together a homemade from scratch buttercream recipe. So like I said, the first recipe that we're going to work on today is for a simple vanilla cake. It's really easy. All it needs is one bowl. If you don't have an electric stand mixer like this one, you can easily use your electric hand mixer. That works just fine. Instead of when we turn this mixer on, just use your hand beaters. The other things you're going to need besides the ingredients: 9-inch round cake pans. We'll be using a 9-inch one. You can also do it with an 8, but you might need a third 8-inch pan. And you'll need a cooling rack for your cake for later, and good and trusty non-stick cooking spray. So the ingredients specifically for this cake: you need 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, half a cup of softened butter, a cup and a third of sugar, 2 eggs, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of milk, and a teaspoon of vanilla. So the first step is to preheat your oven. This cake is going to bake at 350 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes. So once you've got your oven set to 350 degrees, you can get started on your batter. As I said earlier, this cake mix this homemade one is really easy. So what you're going to start with is all of your dry ingredients into your mixer. So your 2 1/4 cups of flour, your 1 1/3 cups of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, and 3 teaspoons of baking powder. All in there. Just mix them up to combine on low speed. And then once we get that going and it's combined there, we're going to take the chunks of the 1/2 inch of butter, and we're just going to drop them in one by one. What you're looking for at this point, to make sure that your butter is all mixed in properly, is it to become a grainy-like substance inside of your mixing bowl. And sometimes the butter tends to get stuck on the paddle, so you might have to stop it and scrape that off. Just mix it here, medium-low speed for just about 30 seconds, just to get that butter moving around. Going to stop it and get the sides of the butter off the bowl. And now you're going to add your teaspoon of vanilla. Just pour that right in. And your 1 cup of milk. We're gradually going to pour it in nice and slow, steady stream. So you're going to keep it at low here for about 1 minute on your mixer. Before it gets going, I'm going to stop it and scrape the sides. It's important when you're using a mixer or your hand beater that you're always scraping off the sides. And especially if you're using a larger KitchenAid, you want to make sure you scrape the bottom, because that's where the dry ingredients tend to pool and get stuck. Okay, so a minute on low speed here. we get close, I'm going to drop in those eggs, one at a time. And once you put the eggs into your batter, starts to get nice and fluffy right away. I'm going to stop and scrape early on in that process. Scraping right to the bottom. And I usually wipe my spatula off on the mixing bowl beater. So we're just going to let this go for about another 30 seconds, and then it will be ready for the cake pans. So the next step is to get our pans ready. And I have found a foolproof way of doing this, and the first thing you want to do is flip over your cake pan, and using wax paper, I usually rip enough for both of my cake pans, fold it in half, and I lay it over top of the bottom. This is a trick my mom taught me, so I have to give her complete credit to that. Using the inside blade of your scissors, you're just going to go around, and the good thing about wax paper is that it scores. Parchment does not do this. So once you've got your circle, it matches exactly to the base of the size that you need. Cut around it, and you've got your bottoms ready. Now the reason you want to do this extra step is because buttering the pan, flouring the pan, spraying it with the non-stick spray, that will all, do you good enough. But this is that extra step that stops your cake from getting stuck to the bottom of the pan. And if you've ever baked a cake, that's probably happened to you at least one time, or many like I have. So what I use is just a normal brand of cooking spray. Spray the whole entire pan, sides and all. Lay down the wax paper, spray it again, and this just helps to ensure that you don't have any cake sticking to your pan. So when you've got that done, you're going to put your cake batter into both of your pans. You can use a measuring cup to measure them out, or you can just eyeball it. Eyeballing is usually good enough. Scrape that out of your bowl. So then you want to spread your cake batter around evenly. Give it a little tap to help it settle. Excuse me. And then they're ready to go into the oven. So 30 to 35 minutes. And when that point comes, we'll check it with a toothpick to make sure it's cooked through the middle. And we will be back at that point. So the timer's just gone off. The cakes have been in the oven for about 30 minutes. Just grabbing them out here. So as you can see, they're nice and golden brown. The edges are slightly pulled away from the pan. That's also an indicator of a finished cake. As is, just touching the top of the cake just slightly and seeing it spring back. So my finger touches it down and the cake pulls back up. These are all indications that your cake is baked and it's finished. And it needs to sit here for about 10 minutes to cool, and then we will show you how to take the cake out of the cake pans. So our vanilla cakes have been cooling out here on the rack for about 10 minutes now. I can touch it without having to wear my gloves. That's a good indication that tells you the cakes are ready to come out. What you want to do is you can take just a regular butter knife, but going against the teeth, you want to go around the cake just to make sure you loosen up any spots that you might have missed with your spray. Go around it a couple times. Don't go with the teeth leading into your round circle, because that will grab the cake and it could bite it and cut it. So all I'm going to do right now is just grab the cake and flip it over. Grab the cake, flip it over, give them a little tap on the bottom there, a little shake, and out it comes. See how easy that was? Nothing stuck on the bottom there. And again on this one, nice and easy. Peels right off, and it makes for a really easy cleanup as well. So this brings us to the end of our baking process. I would let these cakes cool for probably another half an hour to almost an hour. Before you start any other process, you want to make sure that the cakes are completely cool. If you try to ice a cake when it's still warm, your icing will roll right off of it. Our videos to follow are going to show you how to make a filling that will go inside the cake, and also how to make a homemade buttercream from scratch, which will show you how to ice the outside of your cake in order to make a completed homemade cake from scratch. Thanks for watching. Tune in to those next following videos, and remember to subscribe to our channel.